a former oil executive. John Hofmeister is former president of Shell Oil Company and author of Why We Hate the Oil Companies. He joins us now. John, what do you think about this? These are some very serious charges from a very serious man.
Well, I think it was an inevitable outcome of whether time or whatever the issues are. When people die because of an accident or whatever may have led to that accident, you have to get to the bottom of it. There will undoubtedly be civil case after civil case, but whether or not somebody crossed the line at some point has to be looked at.
But beyond that investigation, John, what I'm talking about specifically is the charge of collusion. We all know that BP is going to be charged with something. I mean, that's almost the inevitable outcome of this. But this is what Scott is suggesting, that there may have been collusion between some of the regulators, maybe even some people in the administration, and the folks in BP. That's a whole other issue. Frankly, this would be the first time I'd remember something like that happening.
Collusion is rot. Rot needs to be gotten rid of. I tell a story in my book about how Shell and the Arctic licenses off the coast of Alaska were being dealt with by the MMS. I came away from that with a very positive view of the discipline within MMS relative to my own company, because there was no rot. There was honesty. There was integrity. We didn't get permission that we were looking for. That was sad, and we wasted a lot of money. But every company should have that kind of a standoff relationship with regulators. Right. That's the way it is.
Now the MMS is too busy looking at porn on the internet.
You don't try to make friends with. You shouldn't do it to begin with. It's against the basic integrity of the design of the system.
Well, let me go back to Scott for a second, because we had Sarah Palin on a couple of weeks ago, Scott, just when this crisis was really beginning to bloom, the crisis in the Gulf. She said, I mean, as you probably know, she broke up a cushy relationship between the state republics in Alaska and the oil companies. Is that the kind of collusion that you think might be going on at the federal level?
Well, it's certainly possible, David. It definitely needs to be looked at. I haven't had the opportunity to take a look at it in the Gulf situation. I wasn't even able to take a look at it in what happened in my Alaska case. But it does need to be examined.
John Hofmeister, did you ever see that happen when you were head of Shell? Did you ever see that kind of collusion between either local governments or the federal government and oil companies?
I met with Sarah Palin, and she asked me a question very bluntly. Mr. Hofmeister, do you know who is in charge of the oil companies and policies in the state of Alaska? And I looked right her in the eyes and I said, you are, Governor. She said, good. That's the understanding I need with oil companies operating in the state of Alaska. I give her credit for what she did as governor to try to look into the whole situation. I did not personally see any collusion. I did not participate in any collusive activities.
Have you seen anything that might lead you, excuse me, John, have you seen anything that might lead you to believe there was collusion in what's happening now in the Gulf and what happened leading up to that?
I've been out of the industry for 2 years. Up to the time that I left the industry, I never saw anything. I saw inspectors who would come on our rigs. They were treated with respect. They were shown what they needed to see. They would report their reports. We did not try to cozy up to these inspectors. That was wrong.
Yeah. All right. Finally, Scott, where do we go from here? I mean,